Okay, next steps in hillbilly diagnostic test for fuel pressure. If you think that you have a fuel issue or just want to check, the easiest thing to do first is just take the gas cap off, start the bike. If something is split inside, like the stock plastic casing of the filter, if that's split, for some reason a line split, there's a bad connection from the line to the filter to the pump, anything like that, even if the neck of the pump has broke, you're going to see spray coming out. But to make sure that you can see it, you need to run your fuel line down to about here. That leaves everything that could be an issue uncovered, so you'll see the spray. If your fuel's all the way up here and it's spraying inside, you're probably not going to see it, are you? Because it's all covered by the fuel. So let's run it down here, let's start it up, and let's look in here for spray, but be kind of cautious because you don't really want it in your eyes. One thing you need to know, bubbles that might come out of the bottom, that's normal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, with bubbles. Bubbles are just the return side of things, the fuel pressure regulator, when the pressure gets too high, because you know when you cap these things off and you put your finger over the pump, like another video, the pressure will go straight up to 100. So the purpose of the regulator is to keep your pressure running in that 50, 52, that area like that. When it gets too high, it's going to blow off. It goes back to the very bottom of the pump assembly, and those are the bubbles that you see coming out. So do not be concerned about that. Past that, if all that looks good, the next thing we're going to do, let's turn this thing over. The fuel line is off. This petcock down here, let's just turn it over and just see kind of how the fuel comes out, approximately how far it comes out, and then let's compare it to the other bike. So this is a good pump and our good filter, and everything's good. This is also the high flow 90 that we sell. Now I turn the key on. Now in 2020s, there's no power until you actually hit the start button. Older bikes, everything up to that, the power actually kicks on as soon as you turn the key on, even with the bike not started. So you'll hear the pump start to run as a general rule for a few milliseconds, and then it'll shut off, hopefully when the pressure builds. Let's see how this thing shoots out. Okay, pretty decent stream, but you have an idea of how far it goes. Let's look at the other bike. Okay, this is the problem bike with their same high flow petcock thing on it. Let's see how that shoots out when you turn it on. Pretty good, huh? So it goes for that long, and then the pump shoots off. Apparently, when the pressure builds up, or it's just a matter of time before it shuts off. Here's one thing though on this, I could already tell you. When it was all hooked up and you turn the pump on and you had the top off, like I told you on the other bike to look for spray. You know this fuel is all the way to the top. The thing just massively filled with bubbles, and they're not the few, just little piss over bubbles from the regulator. That's a spray causing some kind of stuff in there. And then also, even now, if I hold my finger over this thing and turn it on, I'm looking in the tank. It's just a sea of bubbles, which is spray. And on the 2020, when I do the exact same thing, it's just nice still fuel, even when you're trying to turn it over and the pump's working and so forth. So that's a bit of a getaway, but let's continue on. Okay, let's check this pressure now on this good bike and see what it's running. Now I'm going to highly suggest you to get a tool that you can actually run on the bike. This is $14, this whole fuel injection kit from Amazon, instead of one of those stupid static tools that I think my competition sells. They're kind of worthless for the $50 because all you can do is check the pump side of things, right? You can't check it when it's running. Well, what happened when we blocked off the pressure of it? It went much higher than 50. You remember our video where we showed you where we were testing things before we sent them out? We blocked off the flow and then shot that thing straight up to 100. So if you have a running one, you could diagnose an injector problem as well, which is super huge. You can't do that with just a static one. So if you're running your bike and the thing ran up to 60, but it wasn't running very well, that's a great indication that everything on this side is working and holding pressure, but your injector is not. is kind of plugged up and it's not flowing the fuel that it should, right? It also lets you know that, you know, you can try this thing on different sides of this quick disconnect. Quick disconnects can plug up. If a filter got plugged up, you can check all that stuff. And it's high. If it's higher than the, you know, the 52 range, you've got some kind of blockade in the injector or something past the right where your deal is. So that's why that's key. Let's look at this thing then. Pressure does not change as RPMs go up. Okay, this is the bad bike. Let's see what it does. And as soon as you turn it on, you know it can't hold any pressure, can't build any pressure. Funny thing is, they still start on this low pressure. So here's a good question. How would you know if it's the pump or the stock filter or a problem like that split? Well, I can already tell you by the tank, because when I'm running this thing and it has pressure behind it and the gas cap's off, you're watching fuel just go crazy in there, and there's bubbles and there's stuff spurting up. So obviously there's a big leak. Obviously something split, but it hasn't got any worse because the bike, at least the guy got home. But we got to change this stuff so you don't walk. Okay, phase one of our operation, we took the fuel tank off, we took the shrouds off, we took this bolt out, unclipped the fuel clip here, the wires, they pull out. Of course, you'll undo this stuff, and you'll take the tank off, and then everything pulls out from the back side, so you take these 4 bolts off. There's an O-ring in here, there's no gaskets to replace, and what you're going to want to do is just poke this fuel assembly out. And you're probably going to have to use a screwdriver and some poking devices and whatever to get it to kind of fall up and come out through this area here. But it'll come out, and let's take a look at it. Okay, we changed everything up. This was the stock pump that came out, and it was actually spewing around here, the seam. And that's something I actually haven't seen before. I've seen broken necks and split filters, but just get rid of the stock junkie and the stock crap plastic filter. We've now got our good stuff in here. Obviously the big built filter, the new line. One thing I want to just mention, I like to put a zip tie around this whole assembly, bring all these things together to kind of secure things. But see how this is the power wire, and then the ground one's actually pretty tight. You see how this power wire, it's jiggling around a lot? Well, what would happen if the the electricity was going on and off, because that thing was jingling around after you put it together? So you need electricity for the fuel to work right. So all of a sudden, you wouldn't have fuel pressure because it would be shutting on and off, and you wouldn't want that. So we're just going to make sure that this dude is nice and secure and tight and clamped down and fits snug. And then, okay. So it's not coming out, the clip's working in place, and it's holding snug now. So let's put it back together and check it. Okay, it's all back together. Is she looking good? Let's start it and see. Not bad. You can tell it sounds quite a bit stronger. Alright. So if you've had those kind of problems, that's what you'd be looking for. You just get the pump and the filter from us, the in-tank fuel bundle, $150, and give yourself about 2 hours to make this upgrade, fix this problem. Let's go enjoy our ride.